Hello, everyone. Welcome to the call. Hope you're doing well today. Our topic of the day is player-coach relationship. And this is a very important topic because in order for the team to progress, in order for the players to develop well, the player-coach relationship is very, very important. Now, there's some things that I do. I've been doing them for so long, they've become second nature. And I want to share those things with you. So one of the first things that I do is I want to make sure I learn the players' names. Because many years ago, I've heard that the sweetest sound in a person to a person is their name. So I want to know the players' names. I want to know how to spell it. I want to know how to pronounce it. The other thing I want to do, I want to ask the players some very basic questions that they can all answer. They can all answer, I should say. Now, things like, well, how many siblings do you have? How many brothers and sisters do you have? Do they play sports? What do they like to do? And what about you? What do you like to do when you're not playing sports? Is there something you like to do? Do you like to sing? Do you like to write? Do you play an instrument? So that way, I'm getting to know the players. You cannot develop good relationship with people until you know them. And the way you get to know them is to ask them questions about themselves. So I've learned to stop talking about myself. Not that I want to the players, but I've learned to draw them out and ask them more questions. So there's definitely a lot of things a coach can do to better relate to the players. One of the things I would highly recommend for coaches is to understand and to know, why are they coaching? Why are you coaching? That's very important, because what you're going to do when you know that, you're going to have a different approach. You're going to have a completely different approach when you show up to practice and games. You know, I asked the kids questions like, hey, what did you learn in school today? And sometimes they say, well, I learned divisions, I learned subtractions, I learned fractions. And sometimes they say, well, I didn't learn anything today. And I always joke with them. I say, well, you went to school the whole day and you didn't learn anything? That's a problem. We got to fix that. All these things, they help me to better relate to the players. And because I understand. Now, I coach because I want to develop leaders. I want to develop better leaders. And that's my goal. So every time I show up, there's a lot of things I'm going to talk about that doesn't relate to sports necessarily, but that because in sports there's a lot of life lessons, and I want to cover as many of those as I can because I don't have a lot of time with them. Right? I only have a few hours a week with them, so it is important for me to do that. The other thing I always recommend to coaches is to be approachable. And being approachable means that it's easy for people to approach you and ask you questions. And one of the things that you want to do, you don't want to be a person that, well, first of all, you want to be a person that smiles a lot, that's having a lot of fun. That's important. And it's easier for people to approach you that way. The other thing is, I always recommend to coaches, don't wear sunglasses. Don't wear sunglasses to practices and games because, and I've said this a long time ago to people, because people they need to see your eyes. They can't gauge where you are. There's a little verse that says the eyes are the window of the soul, are the windows of the soul. And if they can't see your eyes, it's hard for them to relate to you. And it's a very simple thing. It's basic, but that's what I've learned to do. And that's one of the ways I learned to basically draw kids out and talk to them so they can look in my eyes and see that I'm sincere. I'm serious about them. I'm serious about their success. I really care about them. I want to help them. So that's important. The other, as far as being approachable, you know what? I don't make people feel like they're walking on eggshells around me. I don't go into these different tantrums where I'm super mad over a loss, or I'm super happy over a win. Win or lose, you know, I'll celebrate when we win. I'm a little bit more happier when we win. That's fine. But you know what? They know that they're not walking on eggshells. They know where they stand with me. It's very important for you to do that as a coach. The other thing that I do, I ask players for individual goals. I want to know their individual goals. I want to know what they want to get better at, what they want to improve, so I can help them. When you show people that you want to help them and you have patience with them, it's very important to them. And they see that. Sometimes they see that, you know what, I'm having such a hard time with this, but the coach, he hasn't given up on me. He still wants to help me. And they know that, and I know that. So that's the individual goals. Also, I help them try to accomplish small successes, because when they accomplish small successes, they develop more confidence. They can build on that. So if a person can only do 5 juggles, and I teach them how to do 10 juggles, and I show them what they need to do, how they need to practice, and then when they reach those 10 juggles, they're excited. They want to talk to me about it. They want to let me know they've accomplished that. And then what I will do, I will let them know that, number one, I'm going to praise them. I'm proud of them. Number two, I'm going to let them know that, hey, this is not the furthest you can go. You can do more. You can do 20 now. And all those things help me to relate better to the players. Help the players also to start understanding, well, wait a minute, this guy, he doesn't, it's not about all wins and losses. He cares about me as a person. The other thing I want to do is to build confidence. So when someone achieves a smaller goal, they have more confidence to go after the bigger goal. And I do that in a number of ways, not just with the goals, but when my team is playing, I want people to know, number one, I want them to be ready, because I don't want them to start thinking, oh, I never start, coach, I'm going to be on the bench, so it doesn't matter if I'm ready now. And the other spectrum of it, there's other players that may think, well, I always start, so it's not a problem. I don't want people to come to my games like that. So I swing it around. Everybody gets to start at some point. The reality of it is, when you're coaching youth sports, if somebody's going to play 20 minutes, it doesn't matter if they play the first 20 or the last 20. This is not the professionals. I'm not looking at it like that. So I want to build their confidence, and the way I do that, and I keep them ready, is to be able to do that, is to be able to say, today, okay, you start here, you start here. The other thing we want to do, we don't have one captain. We allow everybody to be a captain of the team. Why is that? Because I want to put them in a leadership position. I want to put every one of my players in a leadership position. So that way they can feel they start practicing being a leader. I don't want it to be just one person. I want everybody to experience that. And what is the big deal? A captain basically just goes to the referee and talks to the referee and says which side they want. I mean, this is not the highest. We're not talking about the highest level. We're not talking about college or professional. So it's no big deal, because the goal is to develop the kids. And the way I just don't develop them soccer wise. I want to develop them as leaders as well. So this is one of the things that I do. The other thing I want to do, I want to help people fall in love with the game, because that's the way I learned how to play the game. When you help the players fall in love with the game, they will do so much more on their own. They will do so much more. They will accomplish so much more. They will work so much harder than you could ever influence them to do, because they love to do it. They just love to do it. I want to teach them how to do that. And I want them to see that I love the game every single practice, every single game. I'm playing with them. I have a smile on my face. I'm excited all the time. Now, it doesn't mean that everybody goes home happy all the time. Because one of the things that I do purposely, there's a lot of laughter in my practice, and that's not by accident, right? One of the things that I do is that I get in and I play with them, and I know when I play with them, I can influence the game. I can influence who wins or who loses. So one day I will send people home very happy, and they'll be excited to come back because they want revenge. Oh, no, I'm sorry. They're very happy. They'll be excited to come back because they want to do it again. The other ones that loses, when the team loses, they want revenge. They want to come back and win. And either way, they want to come back. I want people to be excited about coming back to my practices. And that's why I want to teach them how to love the game. I do a lot of drills. That's a lot of fun. That people are laughing, people are enjoying themselves. The players are excited to be there. And just because people are laughing and having a lot of fun, it doesn't mean they're not learning. It doesn't mean they're not working hard, because that's not the case. And it doesn't have to be that way. I don't want to be a coach with a frown on my face all the time, that people are wondering, oh, is he in a good mood today? Is he in a bad mood today? I want them to know where they stand with me all the time. So they don't have to worry about me. They can come to me with anything. That's how I better relate to the players. When you help them fall in love with the game, you know what? They never forget it. They never forget it. I have players that played for me years, and you know what they say to me? They said, man, the most fun I've ever had playing soccer was with you. And and I hope that's not true, because I don't want to be the only person that's out there. Okay. They need to know also that you love children. Because when you love children, you have more patience with them. Your patience is extended. Because the things I'm going to teach them today, they may not do in a year, 6 months. But it doesn't matter to me, because I understand when you understand and you love children, you plant seeds in them, and you allow the seeds to grow when it needs to grow. It's not my job to grow the seed. My job is to plant the seed and help them constantly with it until they get it. They may get it way after I don't coach them anymore. It might be 3 years down the line. But you know what? I did my part. I planted the seed. They need to know that you love children, because if you don't, and when you're coaching, it's going to be very hard. It's very hard. So the last thing I will say is this, and I'm going to say this to all the experienced coaches that's people that's played at a high level. I want to say this to them. I want them to get this, because this is very important. No one knows how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's the last thing I'll say on this topic. Now, we do have a question today. Person asked me today, they said, here's a question, let me read it. They said, what do you suggest if a coach uses foul language with the players? I have no place for that. I really don't. I don't have any place for that. My mother was very big on respect. My mother taught me how to respect people. And when people use foul language, they're disrespecting people. And you know, in our society today, there's a lot of places you go to. People feel like, hey, this is okay. They can use foul language. It's not okay with me. People disrespect me when they use foul language. So it's not okay with me. And a lot of parents give coaches a pass or make an excuse for them. I don't make excuses for people. I don't. And they say, well, the coach is good technically. They're a very good coach. It doesn't matter, because that is normalizing disrespect. And you don't want your children to learn certain behavior, certain words that normalizes disrespect. There's probably 20 or 30 words they could use besides that to articulate their point, to make a point. Whether you're mad or you're sad or you're happy, it doesn't make a difference. There's a lot of words. When people start using those one-line foul language words, that means basically they're short on vocabulary. Because there's a lot of words you can use correctly. I would never put my children under the authority of a person that constantly uses foul language. I would never do that. Not as a parent. Because unless you want your children to talk to you like that at home, because at some point, if you don't address it, then your children would think it's okay for them to do it. And then now you have a bigger problem in your hands. They'll come to your house and do it. So our goal as a coach is to teach the children proper behaviors, proper to respect. And when you coach older kids, sometimes you hear from them, the players themselves. And as soon as I hear that, if I hear that one time, I bring all the players in and I say, look, this is the way it is. Have you ever heard me use foul language in our practices? No. Have you ever heard me use foul language when we're playing in games? No. And I say to them, the reason I don't use foul language ever is because I respect you. And you know what? I want you to extend that same respect to me. I don't want to hear foul language in this practice. If I hear it, then I'm sending you home. If I hear it in the game, I'm taking you out of the game. I'm not going to tolerate that. And that's how I approach it. So it's been great having you guys on the call today. We'll see you on the next call.